about how participatory art can be used to engage communities. But first I'm going to begin with talking to you a little bit about what I was up to before I started Year Here. For a couple of years, I worked with a creative agency which produced art on private commission for professionals all across London. And for some time I was pretty happy, but after a while I was kind of itching for something a little bit more meaningful, and I wanted to figure out how you could make art more accessible for more people. So to begin this journey, I began to visit artists in their studio and figure out what was really going on behind the scenes. And through publishing the studio visits and creating blog content, I created a community of 8,000 followers, as well as a network of artists across London. So this was my journey before I began Year Here. But at the very beginning of Year Here, I was working in a school in Tower Hamlets. In this little pocket of London, I was really surprised when a teacher once told me that actually 70% of the students very rarely leave Tower Hamlets, let alone maybe go to an art gallery or anything like that. So as a result, sort of, day to day, sort of like, I would just find that, they lacked a lot of kind of curiosity and engagement about what was going on beyond their borough, which seemed a great shame. And so in the second phase of Year Here, I went on to do a consulting project for a housing association to help them better understand sort of their most vulnerable tenants. And this made me realise that it's actually a huge market for canvassing the views of ordinary individuals so that any services that housing associations, for example, provide are in line with the needs and wants of the people that they're serving. So as it stands, there's a lot of sort of community engagement services who tend to use more traditional methods. So for example, when I was working for the housing association, we went around, we knocked on doors, we used surveys and all that sort of thing. But I guess what I learned through this whole process, that actually this can be done in a much more interactive way. So for example, by doing art installations in the community that excite not just one person on the doorstep, but actually a whole neighbourhood. And that really, methods that surprise and delight people are the best way to reach, sort of like get really rich insights and treat people more like partners, not just like passive recipients of a research study. Similarly, so instead of using, for example, like questionnaires in a local area to figure out how best to regenerate, a better approach might be to, for example, annotate maps. Because for most people, it's easier to it can be quite difficult to articulate what you're actually what you really want to say, to be honest. So annotating maps and doing it more interactively could be a cool answer. Most importantly, this could also happen in a public place, because ultimately what I also want to achieve here is greater accessibility to the arts. So, for example, you could do it in the unassuming bus stop, in a chip shop, in vacant properties, and I suppose in this way it's bringing art to people who wouldn't normally go or feel at home in an art gallery. So recently I completed my first pilot. My aim was to both sort of incite curiosity and engage people, but also to do it via the medium of art. So in a tunnel outside of Haggerston Overground, at the crack of dawn one morning I drilled up 2 Before I Die signs. These were inspired by an artist called Candy Chang. And what it resulted in was, in a very short amount of time, a huge amount of people responded. And it made me realise that compared to like knocking on doors, this is so much more fun. And so I'm really excited to begin my first project with Origin Housing in January in their Enfield estate. I'm also looking to work with urban planners who want to authentically involve local residents. So my mission really is to bring art to the community through working through housing. And to sort of support me through this whole process, I'm asking for £3,000 in order to complete my first 3 projects, as well as any introductions to participatory artists, housing associations, any project-by-project mentorship, PR, art resources, the list goes on, come find me afterwards. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.